You're listening to Reignite, a podcast that has always been and always will be about politics. I'm Frankie.
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
Now that we've uncovered yet another one of Loghain's nasty little secrets, it's time to confront him at the Landsmeet. A debate breaks out where the warden gets the opportunity to use everything they've learned about Loghain's actions as regent to sway the Landsmeet. Unfortunately, our outcome is not guaranteed. It all comes down to how we've handled our interactions leading to this moment. At the end, who will sit on the throne? Who will lead Ferelden against the Blight?
Wow.
What?
It's intense. It's intense. It's
It
like
is
this is
intense.
one of the pinnacle moments of the entire game. It's like
It
important
is.
and shit.
It is important.
I wish it felt more important. Like, I don't know, the flow of the tail end of the game seems, the whole game is very kind of like, all right, I'll go here, and then I'll go do that, and then I'll go do this. Like, the impact, I think you have to read into the impact more than it actually feels dramatic. This moment, when we get to it, like, the cutscenes and stuff do feel kind of dramatic. And then whenever it cuts away to the action, I'm just like, oh, okay, here we go. I'm going to swing a sword or whatever. It doesn't, I don't know, there was something about the intensity in Mass Effect that I don't feel as much here.
Sure.
And I can't put my finger on why. I don't think it's completely to the fault of the game. But anyway, I see that you have a check-in here. We can go over it. I didn't go back to camp. I just assumed we were going to do the thing because I assumed we were done with all the check-ins.
Oh, there was just one more. It was just Leliana thinking hard on what we've said to her.
Mm-hmm.
And just being like, you know what? You're right. I'm not going to let this fucking bother me anymore. Fuck Marjolaine. She sucks.
I mean,
Like,
yeah.
Basically, she says, I am doing what I think is right. And as long as I follow my heart, I will not fall into the same trap that Marjolaine did.
Right.
And I'm proud of her because it actually takes people a really long time to get to that, mental state where they've realized that, they are the person that they think they are. Right.
Yeah.
So good on you, Leliana. I'm proud.
Yes. I've always enjoyed Liliana as a character. I'm curious this time playing the game so back to back to back if I'll see, because a lot of folks complain that Liliana in Inquisition is not Liliana, like it's a different character. It doesn't feel like the same character.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
And I can see that for sure. But I'm curious if we dig a little deeper in Inquisition, maybe we'll see some stuff. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, after that, we talked to Arl Eamon, and he's like, "It is time. Let us go," and then runs off. It's like, "I will see you there.
Meet me at the castle."
Puts on his battle armor and is ready to go, and you're just like, "Okay, bye. I'll see you soon."
I really appreciate that he's wearing his armor because this is a debate, but it's also a battle. Like, it is a battle for the soul of Ferelden.
Right.
Not to, bring in some Hamilton references here, but Eamon and Loghain are diametrically opposed, and they are fighting for the continuation of Ferelden as they see it. For Eamon, it's about the Theron bloodline. For
Right.
Loghain, it's about keeping out the Orlesians and keeping out outsiders, not necessarily about the Theron bloodline, specifically outsiders. So as far as he's concerned, it doesn't matter who's sitting on the throne as long as it's someone of Ferelden.
Right.
So Eamon's choice to wear armor says something. It contributes to this debate in a way.
Right. And also Loghain is always wearing his armor. He's
Yes.
never unarmored.
Because he's always guarded.
Right. And so it's Eamon's turn to have a show of strength by wearing his armor and being
Yes.
fully prepared as well.
So it's a very small choice, but I appreciate that they made it.
Yeah, for sure. Who did you bring with you to the debate?
Alistair, Zevran, and Wynn.
I brought the same as well. I had to bring my boyfriend and I had to bring my mom. It's important people to have at the debate.
And we walk through as Eamon is giving his speech.
Well, there is one thing before that. Oh no, you killed her, so she's not there. His captain.
Oh yeah.
So
So
Yeah, yeah. So if you don't kill her brutally to escape, she confronts you at the door and is like, "I can't let you do this. I look up to Logain. I know that something is not completely right, but he does have the best interest in heart for Ferelden," and like really defends him. And you can either fight her here and kill her, or you can talk her down. And so I used persuade and I talked her down. I was like, "Truly, you're smart. You clearly have intelligence here. You are not under some kind of control. Like, you see what he's doing. He's being absolutely brutal and illogical. You can't deny that." And after you harp on her enough, she eventually, if you have high enough persuade, she goes to your side. She's like, "Fine, I'll step aside. Just please do something. Don't hurt him. He really does believe he's doing what's best. But, just stop him." And so then you go past her.
Okay. I believe I do remember that happening in a previous playthrough. But yeah, no, I killed her. She dead. She did. So she does not get in my way. I go straight in. Logain interrupts Eamon, and he calls his speech a performance. Yeah. And he starts talking about how Alistair is a puppet king and calls the warden the puppeteer. And even throws out, like, how much did it cost for Elysian to buy our nation from us? And it's so unhinged because we have no dealings with Orlais in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
Like, the only interaction we have with anyone who's Orlesian is Marjolaine, really.
Yeah.
And, like, Leliana, sort of.
Yeah. I also hate that when Logain interrupts, he does a slow clap.
Yeah, okay, come on.
Get out of here.
Calm down, buddy.
Yeah. But yeah, and so in this moment, we can then start to, like, bring up things once we arrive to throw Logain off or to put him on the defensive to explain his actions to everyone around us.
So what is the first thing that you do?
I'm trying to remember. Oh, I think that I called out the slavery first is the first thing I brought up.
I say that the blight is the biggest threat. I'm just going to say the three things I said.
Yeah.
The blight is the biggest threat, slavery, and you poisoned Eamon.
So I didn't mention. So I did the first two the same. I didn't mention that he poisoned Eamon because I think it was an opportunity to bring up Honora before her arrival, and I didn't know if she would show up if I didn't say anything. So I brought up Honora instead as the third thing, like you kidnap, like that.
Rendon Howe.
Right, the Rendon Howe stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, but you kidnapped my daughter, and who knows where she is right now?" And then she has her big interest. "Well, right, I'm right here, Father." Walks in.
Some things that he just says is, Logain challenges our claim that we can end the blight, and it's all because he doesn't want to open borders, because apparently we told him that by we, I mean the wardens in general, said, like, we can bring troops in from Orlais. You do not have to fight this battle alone. This affects everyone. We should, like, team up. We should join forces. Right. And his big fear is that once the Chevaliers are in the country, they will not leave.
Right.
And he doesn't trust that Empress Celine will keep her word to remove her forces from the country.
Yeah, these ramblings and rants of a crazy political person sound very familiar in real life. This idea that if you do this thing, well, there's only one outcome. That there are not options and negotiations. It's just, this is how it'll be. And
his response to, like, hey, about how you enacted slavery in the alienage in our poorest, like, area, in our most poverty-stricken area, you decided, slavery is appropriate here. Everyone is outraged because Ferelden is not a slave country.
Yeah.
Like, they could care less about the elves being involved.
Right.
But Ferelden's not a slave country. We definitely abuse our poor, but enslave them? Never.
Yeah.
I'm just like, all right, y'all. He makes me so angry. He says there is no saving or holding the alienage.
Yeah.
He's basically saying, like, those people do not matter.
Yeah, like, they're going to die anyway. We might as well make some money, is essentially what he says. Yeah,
exactly. Oh, it makes me so mad. And when I challenged him about the poison, he says, I will answer for my sins later.
Yeah.
And I'm just, he goes, whatever my regrets. And I'm just like, ooh, fuck you. You did know about the poison, buddy.
Yeah. And when I challenge him about it, Nora, and like keeping her prisoner, he then throws it back at us. But she's gone now. You killed my men to take her out against her will. And where is she now? She could be dead for all we know. What are you doing? Like, throws it back at me and blames me for like accuses me of kidnapping her from him.
When Honora appears, what does she say?
She said something along the lines because he claims that she might be dead, and she's like, "I'm very much alive, Father, and here I am," and kind of makes her entrance that way.
Yeah, but what did she say after that?
Oh, she doesn't support. She supports us. She supports the warden. Yeah.
She does not support me, despite the fact that I told her that I was supporting her.
Really?
She says, this warden has slandered our greatest general, and she stands up for her dad.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, she didn't. She was completely on my side.
Anger. I'm just like, fuck you. I told you that I was going to support you.
Yeah.
So she comes out on Loghain's side, and then everybody starts like shouting who they support.
Yeah.
And I had 2 people side with Loghain, and everyone else supported me. But somehow that resulted in Loghain winning.
Yeah, mine felt like a 50-50 split, and yet we still ended up, Loghain still ended up winning, and then we fought. Like, so yeah, I don't know. The outcome seems funky. But yeah, Nora was completely on my side, supported me, said that her father is out of pocket, and pretty much like he's not within his right mind, and we have to do something.
I feel like when you have a Nora support, that's supposed to sway the Landsmeet further. I don't know. I like did everything that I possibly could, and Loghain won, and he was like, execute these traitors, and Eamon was like, hell no, we're going to fight you.
Yeah, and then you have a fight, and once the fighting, like once you almost defeat Loghain, then the fighting stops, and
the lady from the Chantry makes us stop, the revered mother or whatever.
The revered mother, yeah, and she says that there will be no more fighting. Each side will choose a champion, and that's how we'll decide this, because that's how it was done in the past when we reached these kind of like conflicts.
Yeah. So I accept the duel terms, and I will fight.
I accepted them, fought, and died. So then, when I reloaded, I let Alistair fight on his own behalf, because that way I'm a tank and I can actually survive. Because as a ranger, I got like 2-shot by Loghain and couldn't do anything. Like I couldn't even summon my animal companion fast enough to survive. So
I won. And Loghain was impressed, and he said, I thought you were like Merrick. I thought you were, or not Merrick, I thought you were like Kaelin, a child wanting to play at war. So he yields to you. And I'm just like, why would you think that? You don't even know me.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you? What happened when you had Alistair fight the duel?
So when you have Alistair fight the duel, you still get to control the character, and so I did. And then the minute that the duel ends, Loghain drops to his knees and says the other line that you confused it with, like I thought you were like Merrick, but you're nothing like him. You could be a strong king. And then Alistair says nothing and just strikes him down and kills him. And like Honora kneels and is upset, but then quickly gathers herself to understand that now we have to decide who will actually run the country. And I didn't know that Alistair would just kill him outright. I thought I would get a chance to interfere like I always do and like talk him down, but I didn't. He just killed him.
Yeah, no. He yields to me, and we're about to decide what to do with him, and Riordan runs in and goes, I have a solution. We need wardens. We could make him one of us.
Yeah.
And Alistair's like, are you fucking insane? He left us all to die. And you want him to be one of us? And Riordan's like, we are not exactly in a position to be picky and choosy at this second. And we're kind of in a situation where we need more than just 3 Grey Wardens. And it would be nice if we had another one.
I feel like they talk about also like, and at worst, if the joining doesn't work, he'll die.
Yeah, then he still dies. And like, you still get your execution. And Alistair is not having it, which also agree. Like,
yeah.
To be fair, you're right. If the joining doesn't work, he dies. But what if the joining does work? Then I have this asshole, like, supposed to be watching my back? I can't trust this idiot. No, absolutely not. Like, he enforced slavery. He encouraged the torture and abuse of innocent people. He tried to poison someone just to keep them out of the way. Like, I absolutely cannot have this person in my team. No. So I decided he's going to be executed. I will be the one to execute him. Everybody back the fuck off. And, like, that's what's going to happen. So I executed him.
I'm kind of glad that the choice wasn't mine to make, that Alistair... I was shocked because Alistair was mostly soft through the game that he did it, but I also can see why he would do it, right? Like, trying to protect those he cares about and stuff like that.
Yeah, Honora fights me about Logain's execution because of the joining as an option. And Logain's like, Honora, let this happen. And she's upset because he's treating her like a child. And he says something that really, like, bothers me because this is such a dad mentality. Like, daughters never grow up. They stay little girls with pigtails and skinned knees. And I'm just like, that is such a dad thing to think. Yeah. But it's not true. They do grow up and they become, like, independent women. And they have a right to their feelings and they have a right to their opinions. And you can't just keep treating them like they're 6 years old with pigtails and skin knees.
Right. But also Logain is the kind of person who would. Like, that perspective for him makes sense. Like, yes, it's frustrating and not true. But, like, for him to have that perspective of Honora explains his actions of why he did them. It doesn't make them right, but it does definitely explain them because that perspective checks out.
So Eamon starts to put Alistair on the throne. And Alistair is like, wait, what?
Yeah, he's like, I didn't agree to this. And then
Honora
steps
like,
up.
He declined. You all heard it. Everyone here heard it. He abdicates. And I'm just like, girl, please.
And then, so here's the funny thing is she's not that enthusiastic about it in mind. Like, we just come to this, like,
probably
moment.
Because her father was just murdered in front of her.
Well, yeah, but it happened in mine too. I feel like, I feel like she's insistent, but I don't know. It's funny. My perspective on Honora is so different from yours because I've had such a different experience with her. It's very interesting.
Yeah, like, so you go ahead.
I was just going to say, so Eamon then says, well, if we can't decide, then we will have an impartial third party decide, someone who's been guiding us this whole time. And of course, the warden is put at the center again. And the warden is asked, who do you choose to take the throne? And you can talk to Honora and you can talk to Alistair before you choose. When I talk to Alistair and I go, do you want to be king? He's like, what's wrong with you? Of course I don't want to be king. She can have it. I don't care. I have no interest. And when you talk to Honora and ask her if she wants to be queen, she's like, have you been listening? That's all I want. And I was like, what about marrying Alistair? She's like, I would have married him if I didn't have to watch him murder my own father. And now that's never going to happen, which is interesting because I didn't know that can affect that.
Yeah. So when I talk to them, I talk to Alistair first. And Alistair doesn't want her to be queen. But when I say, like, are you ready to be king? He's like, I'll do my best. And I'm like, that's not good enough. I love you, but that's not good enough.
It's so funny, too, because when I talk to him, because of how everything shook out, he doesn't care if she's queen. Yeah. He just doesn't want to be king. And so that's interesting that it shifts depending on perspective and what happens in the events.
Yeah. And when I talk to Honora, she says, I've been ruling for the past 5 years in all but name. I will always do what is best for my people. The reason why I did what I did was because I thought I thought I had a chance to talk my father down by supporting him. But that did not work. And I get a chance to be like, you're a ruthless bitch. And she's just like, thank you. Like, I prefer to think that I have, like, staunch determination, and I'm like, I just wanted to say that. And she was just like, could you wait maybe until we're not trying to decide who's the ruler? I was like, no, actually, I'm impressed, dude. Like,
yeah,
you do what you gotta do. Like, I think that makes a better ruler. Like, someone who is willing to do what they have to do in order to protect their people.
Yeah.
That, to me, makes a good ruler. So I choose Honora.
I do as well.
And she makes Alistair relinquish all claim to the throne, and he's just like, oh, hell yes!
Thanks. And she's like, I'll take that as a yes. And now, Warden, as promised, I will fully support you in the fight against the Blight. That is what is important right now. And, like, at that moment, I realized, oh, is this game, like, a lot of the BS around Honora, is it just patriarchal bullshit? Because, like, in this moment when she's so capable, and like, because at least in my playthrough, she supports me from the beginning, like she seems to somehow get away and like doesn't seem to have betrayed me in the battle, like, and when we talk very like plainly. All of those experiences led me to believe that all of Arl Eamon, as much as I like Eamon's bullshit about her not being the right ruler, I think is just because she's a woman, because she is completely capable in every moment that we give her to be. And this moment where she immediately supports the Wardens and the Blight shows that. And so I was like, oh, okay, patriarchy. It's just bullshit that she is like, they don't trust her, so to speak.
So, from my perspective,
right,
Eamon doesn't want her as queen, not because she's a woman, but because she's not the Theron bloodline.
Right.
To him, it's all about the bloodline. It's all about blood. Because that's his bloodline.
Right.
You know? And that is what matters to him. But other people not liking Inora, like the fandom not liking Inora, that's entirely patriarchy, and you are correct.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you are 100% correct.
And I mean, even the lineage kind of conversation is very patriarchal in nature.
Yeah.
So, like,
what if Alistair had been a woman? Would we be fighting for Alistair to take the throne still?
Right, exactly. And so, like, it's just funny to realize that, because, like, I remember the fandom not liking Inora, and I remember early when we were playing and we first meet her, I was like, I don't know if I like her. But then I realized after playing the game long, I was like, oh, no. Like, maybe even the writers don't like her very much, but I do, because she's very strong, independent, and actually smart. And
no,
like
she's
this,
brilliant.
And like this moment, this culmination where she immediately just starts to rally people to take on the Blight is like, oh, okay, she gets it. She didn't betray me. She's not two-timing like everyone says. She knows what needs to be done. It's just I had a very, like, not to make it super political, but it is, like the Hillary Clinton email bullshit all those years ago with Donald Trump. Like, it felt like that kind of thing. Like, oh, let's trust this idiot because this woman is a woman, is essentially what that boiled down to. And I got a sense of that here in Dragon Age. And so, also, I'm not sorry about bringing up politics. Fuck you if you don't want to talk politics.
This episode is about politics, Matt.
Yeah.
Do you not remember my introduction?
I do. I'm sorry, but we've had 3 Landsmeet episodes already, so it's hard to remember what's what.
Everything is politics.
Everything is politics. But yeah, so like I got that sense of like, oh, she's not trusted because men don't like her and don't trust her, not because she's actually not trusted. And so that was like, realizing that was a big deal to me. And I was like, yeah, you go, girl. You run this kingdom.
Who runs the world? Girls.
Exactly.
But from my perspective, even though, like, she was a bitch to me. Like, she and I feel like have a, like, I kind of hate you, but I also respect you kind of friendship.
Yeah.
Because when she walks in, she's like, my father is dead. I never thought he would go so far. I get to say, like, oh, by the way, thanks for betraying me. That was cool. And she's like, sorry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think we have a snarky kind of friendship, and I like it.
Yeah.
So it's just nice to have a female character who's not like, I am the Madonna. Like,
right.
She's not the pure, angelic depiction of women. Like, she is ruthless. She is hardcore. She is actually a strong woman because she stands up for her conviction. She does not buckle. You know, and like, yeah, that requires her being a bitch sometimes. But like, when men do it, they're being like strong and firm and leaders.
Yeah.
So like, it's not okay when she does it.
Right. Yeah.
So, you know, she uses what she has to her advantage.
Right. And I think it's well written in this game. And I think a lot of, I would safely say, a male portion of the audience overlook that. And I think it's the same. I feel like it's the same people who look over certain characters because they feel like nothing burgers when they don't want to dig into their backstories. The bullshit that Ashley and Caden always got, and like even some characters from this, Alistair often gets it, is like, yeah, they seem like nothing burgers to you because they're not a rock person or a different fantasy race or an elf or whatever. They're humans that you have to dig a little more to see why their character is interesting. And so to you, that's too much work. You know, it's emotional investment. And a lot of folks, for whatever reason, and I'm not even going to like, there are reasons some people just aren't interested in that stuff. And that's fair. But I think to judge a character's art completely based on your lack of investigation is unfair to the character and how they're written, you know?
For sure. So once that's all done, we're off to Redcliffe where our armies are gathered.
Yep. And of course, once we get to Red Cliff, we see a burning cart and a villager standing in the middle of the road again. And it's like, oh, now what?
Well, the Darkspawn have arrived.
Yep. And so we have to kill Darkspawn in the village and then fight our way through to the castle.
Can I tell you, I feel like killing Darkspawn in the village is such a fruitless exercise. There's no one there to save.
No.
You go down to the village, you kill some Darkspawn, and it's just like, I can't go into any buildings. There's no one here. Why did I even bother coming down here to kill Darkspawn?
Can I share a secret with you?
What?
I didn't go to the village. I just went straight to the castle and nothing was different.
Yeah, I mean, it could be that it's an extra opportunity to grind for experience.
Sure.
Which, sure, I get it. But I don't know. I felt like it was fruitless and totally pointless. And once you get to the castle, then you have to kill more Darkspawn in the courtyard.
Yeah, and there's like waves of them. Like I killed the first wave pretty quick, and then I was just standing with the guards at the top of the stairs, and I'm like, what's going on? Why can't I go inside? And I realized, there's waves of enemies. And so you fight, regular Darkspawn, then Darkspawn with generals, and then you fight a giant ogre again. This is like the 18th time we've done that. And then when you kill the ogre, then there's a cutscene that you can go into the castle.
Oh, and then there's an ogre alpha.
Oh, right, the ogre alpha. Whatever. It's the same ogre character model.
No, I know. But once we do clear that, we're brought inside, and we find out that the Horde are not coming to Red Cliff. They're marching on Denerim.
Yeah.
Where we just were.
Right. And the funny thing here is, like, so we get in the room, and Alistair says, after a little conversation, that Denerim is 2 days away, and we'll never make it in time. And I went, bitch, we just got there in 30 seconds. What are you talking about? Because this game has no sense of time.
No sense of time.
Like, and so when they say it takes 2 days to get there, I went, wait, are you telling me that every time I clicked a waypoint, it took me 2 goddamn days to get there? Because no one in the entire game ever mentions that at any point, how long it takes to travel anywhere. And now all of a sudden, it's like an impossible task to get there in time.
Yeah, for sure.
Bizarre.
Well, remember when we found out that it had been a year since my character left the circle?
Oh, right, yeah.
And I'm like, it has been a day.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about. I left the circle yesterday.
Also, the other disconcerting news, besides the fact that they're marching to Denerim, that we find out from, what's the name of the other? Riordan, thank you. Riordan tells us that the Archdemon is at the front of the Horde. And so this is it. This is the Blight. This is the real battle.
And Alistair, my bae. I won't let all those people die without giving them a chance. Yes. I love him. I love him so much.
And then you have a few options where you can say, well, let's leave immediately. Or you can say, all right, well, let's leave as soon as the troops are gathered. And so I chose that one, of course.
I said, so how do we defeat the Archdemon?
It's a good
question.
question.
And Riordan was like, I'm sorry, do you not know? Oh boy, we have to have a conversation before you leave.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't ask that. And so he just says, oh, before we leave, before you two go to bed, make sure you check in with me. I have some stuff to go over with you. So I think depending on what you choose, either Riordan assumes you don't know, or if you ask that question, he's like, excuse me?
Yeah. I think he assumes that you know. And he's just like, we're going to go over it. We're going to,
talk about it.
Who's going to be the one to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, especially considering I know what it means to kill the Archdemon based on Warden lore. Right. Not knowing that and signing up to kill the Archdemon, it's like, yeah, okay, this is going to be an interesting conversation. Can't wait to talk about that.
It'll be fantastic. And then Arlene is like, okay, somebody's going to show you to bed.
Yep. And we'll take care of this. We'll wake you as soon as the troops are ready. You should actually get some rest since who knows when you slept last.
We never sleep.
That's true.
Short episode today.
Yeah. I mean, well, because the end of the game is so much longer because there's a lot of stuff to wrap up. But our next episode, we will be taking on that Archdemon. We will be, I guess, more or less wrapping up the game, right? In the next episode.
Pretty sure that's just it.
Yeah, because then after that, it's the DLC, and we'll at the end of the next episode, we will discuss where we're headed from here, what DLC we're taking on next, and all of that. But yeah, the next episode, time to finally save Ferelden from the Archdemon.
Yeah. Well, we have 2 conversations, and then we save Ferelden.
That's true, and both of those conversations, well, at least one of them is incredibly bizarre. Yeah, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that because I remember what I did. We'll get to it. It's just a very strange thing that this game asks you to do. Anyway.
Yeah, and I think mine is going to be complicated by the fact that Alistair thinks he's king.
Yes, also true.
So, we'll figure it out. It'll
Yes.
be fine.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Hopefully. I mean, what's the worst that could happen, right?
We'll get to it when we get to it. Am I right?
You're right.
Yeah. All right. If you like what you heard here, please follow us on social media. We're at ReignitePod on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Facebook.com/ReignitePod, or you can send us an email at reignitepod@gmail.com. Oh, by the way, Matt.
Yes.
Fun fact, I have been told that your voice is like ASMR.
Thanks? Question mark.
You're welcome.
By who?
Someone that I date.
Okay, I'll take the compliment.
He listens to our podcast and he doesn't care about me. He's like, oh, Matt.
I'm taken. I'm sure you're very nice, but I'm taken.
He is very nice, and I think you'd like him a lot.
Okay.
But you can also find us on Twitter at Frankie B. Writes and Fun and Games Pod, where you can tell Matt how their voice gives you those sweet, sweet ASMR tingles.
Yeah.
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite podcatcher if you can. It helps us get seen so other people can find us. And you know what? You can include in your review how Matt's voice gives you those tingles.
Stop! Enough. You know it's easy to make me blush. Knock it off.
It's so much fun, though.
Yeah. We're members of the Certain Point of View Podcast Network. You can visit CertainPOV.com to find more nerdy podcasts, each with a unique point of view. You can also find a permanent invite link to our Discord server on the website and in the show notes down below, and you can join in the conversation over there.
All right. And for personal plugs, I continue to be but a humble PhD researcher. Just living my life out here in Northern Ireland. If you enjoy content that I produce, please kick me a couple of bucks on Venmo. At Frankie Brad is hella rad.
And I continue to do too much. If you would like to support other work that I do besides buying merch for this show, you can go to patreon.com and look up Fun and Games Pod. We have my video game podcast has a Patreon. Feel free to support us over there. If you've not listened to my video game podcast, go check it out. I think it's a good time. Frankie's been on before. It's really a fun show. And then, all of my other podcasts, merch, all of that stuff you can find at djstormageddon.com. If you listen to my shows already and haven't rated or reviewed any of the podcasts, including this one, please go do that. It takes 2 minutes, and it really helps us. Thanks.
And make sure you talk about Matt's ASMR.
Stop. Shut up. Go away. We'd also like to thank Carter's husband for developing amazing t-shirt designs that you can find over at certainpov.com or on Teespring. As well, we'd like to thank him for designing every individual episode's show art. He's really stepped up his game this season. I mean, they've always been good, but the season has been particularly great.
And we'd like to thank Radek Wade and Echoes of Oblivion for our theme music.
And of course, last but not least, thank you to the incredible Red Spinks for our brand new logo. To see more of his work, you can follow him at Chaos Does Art on Instagram.
I'm Frankie.
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon. And remember, Grey Wardens.
In war, victory.
In peace, vigilance.
In death, sacrifice.
Okay, bye. Video games are a unique medium.
They can tell stories,
Immerse us in strange, fantastic worlds.
blur the very boundaries of our reality.
But at the end of the day, video games are fun, whatever fun is to you.
I'm Jeff Moonen,
And I am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon.
and on Fun and Games, we talk about the history, trends, and community of video games.
It's a celebration of all the games we play and all the fun we find within them.
And there's so many more games out there, so we hope you'll share in that conversation with us.
Fun and Games podcast with Matt and Jeff. Find us on certainpov.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
And happy gaming.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.